What it do? What it do? What it do? You know. Cult leader. Yeah. We speak the truth, but we a cult leader. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a cult leader. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a cult leader.
It's Kool-Aid, a nigga that sipped the Kool-Aid. That LaFraud, single barrel and goose. Got the coke going up on a Tuesday. Roast the false prophet like a gourmet souffle. Cause me no say spirit gun like you skate. Nigga might run up in that black face like Gucci. Boycott a cracker, kill your favorite rapper. Cause I run with G's like a Green Bay Packer. I chop a Christian like a new machete. When you polygamous, they look at you like R. Kelly. Still these women wanna do me like I'm Akinelli. West Coast sisters love me like a Machiavelli. Make these crackers lick the dust off my boots. We want no cowards in our camp and we ain't taking recruits. My crew the livest, y'all suckers is the jobbers. Niggas run their lips but they damn sure wouldn't try us. Nah, I ain't the same cat who used to break laws. They just rather see me as the same cause. Some rather remain lost. My brain washed with these stained thoughts. I be repping for my niggas riding for the same cause. Cult leader. Yeah. Well, bitch, then I'm a cult leader. Yeah. Better ask somebody, bitch.
Cult leader. Yeah. We speak the truth, but we a cult leader. Yeah. Well, bitch, and I'm a cult leader. Yeah. Well, bitch, and I'm a cult leader. Yeah. According to God, the white man is the devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass, need to stop it, ass shit. Give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that preach talk. Everybody ain't with all that bike on me. Boy, ass shit, stop it, ass shit, prop. It's about to get serious. Boy, when they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed the up for parole because of the COVID. It feel like the hoes in this world that don't go together. No one is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the scope never settled. See the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass she the prophets. You know, like we all come together. You know, they say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and no, boy, your ass need to stop it, ass she the prophets. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop it, ass shit. Oh, I'm with stop.
Like Smart. Pando killed the beat. I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all don't speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans get locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died. Y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew. You a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum. A gun that would die. Yeah, Easy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We were slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth. I had to make it clear how Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947. Yo, menorah got 9 sticks. It's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world. Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs, bunch of thieves and culture vultures. Ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert. So tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you live there. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the Feast of Purim. You BK undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard, they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. You ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi why he give them babies herpes. I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody's trying to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, it's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'll punch you in person. I know this is an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ. They the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas. They're a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth. Niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4. I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now you got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. And I know the blasphemy the Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are.
Yeah, Shalom Israel. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant Julian Hanna. We've been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969, that the so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we all belong to the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, right? When we talk about the nation of Israel, we're not talking about Israel that we're hearing about in the news today, right? But Israel and Iran, right? Those who are in Israel today, bombing Iran and attacking all these Middle Eastern countries, they are not the true Jews according to the Bible, right? They are what they call Ashkenazi Jews, or the Jewish people, right? They were brought into that land in 1948, right? To form that nation, but that is not the true Israelites or biblical Israelites according to the Bible. According to the Bible, the true biblical Israelites are the black Hispanic, and Native Indian people, right? They are the true Jews according to the Bible. They are the people that we heard of times of old when you read the scriptures, right? And you hear about the Israelites going through, being delivered under the hand of the Lord through Egypt, right? It's talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And this could be proven, right, through biblical history, archaeology, right? And the history records itself in the world records that the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man are the Lord's chosen people, right? So before we go to get into the class, right, just a quick announcement. As you can see passing across the screen, right, is the Lord's 57th annual Passover, right, which will be taking place in Texas on April 4th this year, 2026, right? If you can make it, right, to Texas, right, by all means do. Understand? The Passover fee, I believe it's 200 US, right? So you could call the school, right? I'll pass the numbers across the screen just now and get a contact, and they will put you into the relevant persons. However, if you're probably on the islands, right, or in Trinidad, and you cannot make it to Texas, right, on the April 4th for the 57th annual Passover, we here, right, together in the same spirit, will also be gathering here at the school in Light Pool number 1, Morris Street, Point Fortin. So if you're in Trinidad, or maybe you're in a nearby island and you would like to visit Trinidad, you could come, right, on April 4th, right, 2026, right, to celebrate and gather with us, right, along with the entire nation to celebrate the Lord's 57th annual Passover, right? So you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, right? Remember, April 4th is the Lord's 57th annual Passover, right? Also, just a quick announcement. We also have classes right through the week here in Trinidad, right? Monday night, which is tonight, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. On a Tuesday, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. also, right? And also on a Wednesday, we'll be streaming the class straight out of DC, Washington, with Priest and Officer Captain Mashak Mayang, all right? From 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., right? We have a radio show, right? From 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., right? And also we have the Sabbath service on a Saturday, right? So you can tune into the classes, right? And make yourself familiar with all our content on these ISUPK Trinidad social media platform, right? If you could, just give me 1 second. Yeah, so don't forget, right? The Lord's 57th annual Passover, and to check out our social media platforms, right? For all ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago events, right? That will be taking place down here locally, and also ISUPK abroad, right? So with that, we're gonna get into the topic tonight, right? right? Which is they are Confederate against you, black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, also by extension, right? All of us belong to the nation of Israel, right? And you, black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, need to understand, and even right here in Trinidad and Tobago, need to understand that many of these nations are Confederate, right, against the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? From times of old, which we all know and read about, but still, many don't believe that it is still going on today, right? To you, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? We are still under oppression from all these other nations, right? Many of you are starting to see a glimpse of it now, right? As we see the different geopolitical moves and stuff like that taking place, right, in the country, right, amongst these heathen leaders or leaders of the other nations who are in rulership in Trinidad and Tobago today. And you, black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, is getting to understand, right, that this oppression, right, that many thought had gone away since slavery, is still here upon you, black man, right? That is still your condition, right? It is still your oppression today. Understand? You still have to struggle day to day in the ghettos and the byroads, right? And we're going to go through a few videos and a couple scriptures today, right, showing that how moves and things are being structured in a way to even bring more oppression upon the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? And we have to be very careful and circumspect, right? And the only way for the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to see and understand what is happening to him today is through these scriptures, right? And it's not looking at the scriptures through the eyes of Christianity, right? Christianity, according to the Bible, has nothing to do with these biblical scriptures. Understand? Christianity is the religion of the oppressor, right? The Bible has nothing to do with Christianity. You, black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, need to understand this, right? This has nothing about beating tambourines and jumping up in church and pleading the blood of Christ. Understand? Right? That is pure out full Christianity. According to the Bible, right? There's a chosen people by the Lord. Understand? And that is the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And we are that chosen people. You, black man in the Caribbean, right? Throughout the Latin American countries, the Hispanics and the native people, right, of the land, the native Indians of the land, right, whether it be in Trinidad or on the South American mainland or on the reservations in America, predominantly those people, right, are the true Jews according to the Bible. Understand? We form the true nation of Israel, not these white Ashkenazi Jews that we hear about in the news, right? Very familiar today, right? Those are fake or Jewish people, meaning that people pretending to be Jews. I would call them Jewish because they are not the true Jews according to the Bible, right? I have the book of we will start with the book of John and verse 8. John chapter 8 and verse 32, and it says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Understand? Right? And that truth, right, is written in this Bible. That truth is the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? We need to understand that we need to come back and keep the Lord's commandments and statutes. Understand? This is the things, right, that the Christian church don't tell us, that they make us believe that we saved by grace and you could just cock up your foot, go and dip yourself in some water and come in the church and cock up your foot, right? And you're already saved. When the Bible says it is those who endure to the end. Understand? Right? There's nothing about dipping you in water and then coming back and everything straight and correct. Right? According to the scriptures, right? You black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, you supposed to be keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? That is what the Lord laid on for us. And in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, right? in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15, this is what it says, right? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right? Yes. Right? And this is what the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Yeah, correct. No, it's not on law. Yeah.
Read it from them.
It's on the now. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15.
15.
Can. Right? And the scripture is saying that you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, just like our forefathers didn't want to keep the Lord's statutes and commandments, right? Way back, right? In the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. Understand? And when they stepped away from the Lord's statutes and commandments, the Lord's laws, the constitution, right, that is set up for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, that is set up for our nation, right? They went into captivity, they went into oppression, right, under the hands of many different nations, right? And you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, this Bible is a real book. It is the words are alive. Understand? Right? And the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is not under the oppression that we see in today by guests. Understand? Right? It's because we stepped away from the things that the Lord told us to do and to keep and to follow. Understand? And that's why we find ourselves in these places today under the hands of many of these other nations. Understand? Until it becomes so bad that sometimes many people go out in the street, understand, and speak and talk about it with one another because it vexes their spirit. And that is what the Lord wants you to realize, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Understand? The Lord wants you to realize that you could become what? A better people and a better nation. Understand? And you could do a more excellent job, right, than these other nations carry out and conduct themselves. But for us to do that, we need to come back and keep the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments under the Most High. Right? So we're going to look at a few things right here in Trinidad, right? And one of them recently was the new military alliance that America wants to form with Trinidad and Tobago, right? They call it the shield of the Americas, right? They held this conference, right, with the U.S. President Donald Trump, right? His defense secretary, right? And they came down, they invited only 2 nations from the Caribbean islands, which was Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, right? Who are 2 known supporters to be supporting the Donald Trump regime, right? And this took place, and these were the only 2 to attend, and all the other Caribbean countries did not attend, right? Because they did not support some of the policies, right, that was that was given out, or the ultimatum that was given out by the Donald Trump administration. They were very critical of it, understand? And none of those countries were invited to this alliance, right, or this treaty that they were about to form, right? And the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man need to understand that this treaty comes under the guise of security, but it's not for you, Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. This, right, is to bring more oppression on the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man and the society, right? And as we go in tonight, we're going to understand and see a little more about it, right? So we will just run this video and we will
along with Trinidad and Tobago, are the only
Right, so this was at the recent Shield of the Americas Summit, right, where all these some of them are Latin American nations, and many of them, and sorry, only 2 of them came from the Caribbean nations, right? And these 2 nations, Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, openly supported this new policy that America had proposed, right, to pursue over the Western Hemisphere of the world, right, or the North, Central, and Latin American countries.
Guyana, along with Trinidad and Tobago, are the only 2 CARICOM nations invited by President Trump to be a part of this coalition that was formed to combat narco-terrorism. President Ali said the region has long complained about the crime that comes from the thriving drug trade, and now President Trump has decided to do something meaningful about it.
Right, so this is the president of Guyana, right, of East Indian descent, right, and also the Prime Minister of Trinidad, also of East Indian descent, right? Both of them decided that they were going to support Donald Trump in his campaign to set up this military alliance, right? And this is what he had to say, or why, right? He was supporting this policy.
So we support the strong action on drug cartel. We have supported the charter to deal with transnational crime, especially the narco-terrorism and these cartels.
Right. So it said they wanted to support transnational crime and narco trafficking. Right. All these were already being done under, right, the CARICOM, which was all the Caribbean member states and formed CARICOM, and they were already pursuing narco trafficking, right, under the CARICOM. But he is saying that he is joining this new alliance because Donald Trump is more firm on it.
So we have to agree first that this is a challenge in the region, and we have an approach now that is direct and one that seeks to take the region out of this stain of criminality, cartels, and drugs.
Meanwhile, President Ali is also in support of a regime change in Cuba.
Right. So he's saying that he forming this alliance, right, with America because they would have a more firm force, right, on the narco trafficking in the Caribbean, right, and our prime minister here in Trinidad and Tobago also supports this same position, right. So the reporter turned and asked him what he thinks about Cuba, and this is what he had to say as well.
Meanwhile, President Ali is also in support of a regime change in Cuba. On Saturday, Trump said the socialist state's lifespan is coming to an end. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has accused the U.S. of attempting to plant its own choice of leader for Cuba. However, Ali says the status quo cannot remain.
We agree that there must be an attempt to have this status quo change, and we all are aware that it will take time. It has to be incremental. There must be dialogue, but those changes must lead to the improvement of the people of Cuba, must lead to better conditions for the people of Cuba, must lead to a society in which the rule of law, in which democracy, in which freedom is celebrated.
Right, and he is saying, right, that this regime change must take place in Cuba in order for democracy, right, to take place, right? So they must remove the current regime, remove their style of governance, right, and put a democratic government, right, or the political policy of the so-called oppressor in Cuba in order for the people of Cuba to be free. Right? And black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, this is where the deception of the oppressor takes us. Understand? Right? And this agenda is being pushed through two heathen leaders in the Caribbean. You understand? They are now joining hands with the so-called oppressor in order to bring stricter measures and stricter rules and give the oppressor a more open authority over all the islands within the Caribbean and Latin American states. Right? And this is why the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, this is why the Lord tell us to do what? Not learn the ways of the heathen. Right? The more we join with the heathen, the more we join hands with the heathen, the more we bond with them, is the more that the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is going to continue to go into oppression, right? So give me Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2, Baba Kusha. Right, you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we need to understand that the heathen, is not to rule over the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Otherwise, these strange policies is going to begin to take place, right? And for the nation of Cuba, right? Many do not know that the sufferation in Cuba is not because of the type or style of governance that they have, but it's because their country is under an embargo from the United States. They can't buy or sell as they want. You understand? Right? With the recent removal of Nicolas Maduro, right? Cuba started to have a shortage of oil, and they were unable to keep oil and gas, Slovakia, and they were unable to even keep the electricity on. Right? So many parts of in Cuba today are in darkness, right? Because they need natural gas to run all these power plants so that they may be able to operate, right? And even right here in Trinidad, I remember one time the former Prime Minister in Trinidad and Tobago, right, came out and he said that Trinidad had 10 years reserve of natural gas. And after that 10 years, if the natural gas run out, we would also too would go in darkness. Understand? Right? So this is how the so-called oppressor controls these countries, by controlling their resources, right? And this is how he brings or forces countries to change the head of their government into alignment with America's policy, right? So you could go ahead with Jeremiah 10 and 2, Baba Kusha.
Jeremiah 10 and 2. Thus said the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen.
Right, so the Lord is saying that we must not learn the way of the heathens. Understand all their culture and philosophies, right? And all their style of governance. We must not learn the way of the heathen, right? And right now, America is trying to make the entire Caribbean, all nations, into a democracy, right? And that is the only way they could get full control and full strength over all these nations, by making all of them into a democratic system, right? Continue, Baba Kusha.
Be not dismayed,
and be not, you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we can let the things in the heavens, right? We can't be dismayed by those things. Go ahead. For what?
For the heathen,
right? It's the heathen man, they are those things in the sky are amazing to them. Understand? Right? Those things in the sky, they bow down and worship it. Right? The Lord told us that we should not worship anything in the sky or even in the sea below. Right? Because we understand that we have one true power, which is the Most High God. Understand? He is our living power. Right? But these heathens, right, make these decisions is because they err. Understand? Right? They serve all these stone gods, right? And all these wooden carvings that they make by their own hands. Things that they making by their own hands, they worship it. Understand? And that is why you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we should not, understand, adopt the ways of the heathen. Salakia. Give me Exodus chapter 23 and verse 32. We should not accept, understand, the ways of the heathen, right? Because that is what is going to be a trap or a snare unto you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. Understand? That is what makes our demise. And when you look back at the history of Israel all through the Bible, Understand? Dealing with these other nations make us keep falling to the bottom of society, falling to the bottom of the world. Understand? Making us sin against the Most High. Understand? Because we are under the hands of these heathens, wanting to follow the culture, right? And the philosophies of these heathens, right? When the Bible says that we are supposed to be a holy and a separate people unto the Most High power, right? Give me the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 32, Bible.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
Right, so the Bible says, you black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we're not supposed to make any covenant with them. We're not supposed to form any treaty, understand, with the so-called oppressor, right? Right? Just as history would show you that the oppressor has broken every single treaty he has signed. You understand? All type of treaties he go about signing from way back, right, with the Native Indians, even right up to today. And he keep breaking all these treaties, understand? Right? And using his military might, understand, to bring governments into alignment with his policy, right? And that is the spirit of the oppressor, right? Ruling by force or by dominance, right? Through his military might in the world today, right? And you black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, the more, right? I know many may be looking at it and saying, well, yes, America providing security for these smaller islands. No, the more we go and hold hands with the oppressor, is the more we're going to be oppressed. The more the rules are going to be stiff. Understand? Right? When you look at some of the things that are popping up in true policies, right? You see now that they want to stop free speech, right? Even is somebody law saying even orally or through cell phone. You understand? That became a big debate in Trinidad and Tobago Parliament. Right? There was an entire article in the Trinidad and Tobago Express where the state of the emergency, as they have it, they have the powers to stop to hold someone for a post that they make on social media. That was social media become very ticklish now. Right, and everything I had to make sure and see alleged this, alleged this, alleged that, right, because many times, because of the state of emergency we under, they set up these laws for the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to fall victim or to be trapped, and you have to be very careful when these things are taking place, right, and they even go so far, right, the Section 11 part of it even goes so far to say even if you speak orally. Understand? So if you're standing within close proximity and any law enforcement should hear you say anything that is critical of those that be in the powers that be, you could also be detained. Understand? Right? And this is how serious society is becoming. And all this is coming down from the so-called oppressor because they're watching the pattern of the oppressor in the world and trying to adopt the same policies locally here in the different lands of the Caribbean, right? Yes, Salak, yes, sir.
Especially here in Trinidad, right, at the Tobago, right, and the IS command generally are bringing out this shoe. Since 1969, even in the history, making it clear to us here in the Caribbean that, as time came about when the oppressor decided to hit the either piece, bring our next slave master. Now we choose that next slave master. Especially with the South America, the then president right now, it says a lot.
That's right.
It actually showing him everything that we have been speaking about. Since coming into the shooting event before us,
that's right.
Even speaking about showing the example of the East Indian taking wrong.
That's right.
Right here in the Caribbean.
That's right.
And it's so clear right now that again, and brothers and sisters should really be paying attention to what is going on right now. So you might be thinking that we see not happening, but a lot is happening right now.
That's right.
Now is not the time to see.
That's right.
Now is not the time to take everything, well, we get in touch.
everything happens so quick, and the general keep on bringing this out, you know, constantly. Every show that the general bring out.
That's right.
From since that time, you know, to now, everything just, you know, coming to pass.
That's right.
You know, we should take heed because now this was told to him, and he was brought up in that right mindset to what to look for, and what to pay attention, what to make sure, and to bring in mind. And scripture that even see this when Christ even tell Peter, I said, feed my people. People. That is paraphrasing.
That's right.
This was a reminder that the general has been doing that, making sure that the information that we get was correct and right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, kind of cancer, understand, and we bring out so heavy, understand, because just as you brought out the general has been teaching that from since he was taught and right down to all the captains and generals and the generals, captains and officers in the school, understand. He has been telling us that from the beginning, right? And most are in Christ for that, and just as they say, the so-called oppressor, right, is empowering these nations, these East Indian nations, over us here in Trinidad. Understand? And you're right, it come into play now. It coming out in the forefront now. Understand? And becoming plain, right? And it's so ironic, right? This will be the time that the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right, will be such under immense strain, right, that the Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man struggling to focus what's going on the news. Press it. I feel it probably off. Yeah, I feel it off. Check it out. Come on.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, go on.
All right, this one, the one I'm speaking on.
All right. So
yeah. A little loud, yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Come on, cancer. Yeah. This is what taking place in Trinidad. The oppressor is empowering, right, these other nations, right, in the Caribbean to rule over the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? And the rule is becoming so rigorous that the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, because he is so far down in poverty, right, he didn't have the time to see or to listen to what's going on in society. Understand? And all these things are taking place day in, day out. Understand? And for the Black, Hispanic man, when he do eventually understand what's happening, sometimes it'll just be too late. Understand? Right? And we will go on and we will see, right? If you read back to the top of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 32, Bible question.
Okay, Exodus chapter 23 and verse 32. No.
Go ahead.
No, with the gods.
Right? And it says we shall make no covenant, right? Or this doesn't mean trade or anything like that. It means no covenant, no treaty. You mustn't make no bond with them, right? And it says no with their gods, right? Because we have a living power, which is the most high power. We're not supposed to serve no other god, right? According to the Bible. And it says don't make no covenant or form any treaty with them. Understand? Because they are going to break it. They are going to betray that treaty. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. All right? And we go take a look at this, right? And more, right? These the oppressor keep empowering these leaders and making the Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man continue to stumble and make mistakes, right? And when you look at how these governments are set up, right, it is our people who are put in the places within the government to make these statements or decisions, right? And look at this. this took place just before the summit of the Shield of America. This was on the first day, right? Before they went into the main event, right?
While Trinidad and Tobago has previously expressed support for the United States military.
I'm going to play back this here, right? We're going to listen, and we're going to hear. Right?
While Trinidad and Tobago has previously expressed support for the United States military presence in the region, today's statement from the Defense Minister, delivered in the presence of the U.S. Secretary of War, may present the most robust pledge of support yet.
This is the Defense Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And he is addressing the assembly in the Shield of the America Summit, right? And he is stating Trinidad's position, right, towards America, right? So he laying it out on the table how America should view Trinidad, right? And this is what you're going to say.
We are not observers in this fight. We are on the front line with you.
Minister stood.
Right. So the first thing he said, the first signal he issued, right, to the Americans is that they are not watching from the sideline, right? They say they're going to place Trinidad on the front lines with the United States of America when it comes to security and defense, right? Now, mind you, many of that, this is why Commander General of the Canada always say this. Understand? Once you have the ability to remove yourself from the white man military, you take away yourself from that. You understand where I'm from? Because these decisions that are making on the higher level causes the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to go against the law. You understand? Because you will end up going out there and dying for the oppressor, right? When you're not supposed to even be a part of that, right? So he says that Trinidad wants to stand on the front lines with America when it comes to security, right?
Was speaking today in Florida at the America's Counter Cartel Conference, a high-level military and defense summit hosted by the U.S. to coordinate a regional response to drug cartels and transnational criminal organizations. Now, in his address, Sturge lamented the negative impact drug trafficking has had in Trinidad and Tobago, but he said if this country is to be the security anchor in the Southern Caribbean, it will need great assistance from the United States.
Right, and he is trying to explain to the Defense Secretary in the United States that if Trinidad has to be the anchor, right, in the Caribbean, right, the United States have to give them more assistance, so that they're asking the oppressor now to give them more power, understand, so that they can establish America's doctrine in the Caribbean, and we're going to go along and we're going to hear a little bit more.
We require assets in the interim that would enhance our maritime domain awareness, as well as enable us to carry out targeted reinforcement that would serve both our interests and would deliver immediate hemispheric benefits.
Right? So he's saying once America empower the Trinidad, right, with assets from America, right, they are going to see results. So he already promising the oppressor that, hey, if you only give me the power, we go show you what the results look like.
The minister said once proportionally equipped, this country will deliver results.
We stand ready. Our personnel are highly trained and our doctrine aligns with yours.
Right? And he said our personnel, right, are highly trained. And the main thing he said is that he signaled to America to form that bond, right, is that our doctrine aligns with yours. So he's saying that this government doctrine aligns with the oppressor. You understand? Aligns with their policy. You understand? Right? And if you can read back Exodus chapter 23 and verse 32, Baba Kusha.
Thou shalt make no covenants with them.
That's right. Right? And the scriptures say we should make no covenants with them. And immediately he signaled the intention that we doctrine alignment to all. Understand? And this is what took place on our brothers and sisters, right? Our black men and Hispanic men and Native Indian men in the military. You can't do nothing about Understand? Because they already make that decision that we doctrine align with the oppressor. Understand? And this is what the ICPK under Commanding General Hannah talks about. Understand? When you sign up for these military services, this is where you find yourself in. So now we're going to fight, understand, a war, understand, against so-called narco traffickers on behalf of the United States in the southern part of the Caribbean, right? And he is asking for the United States to give us the weapons or the ability to do it, right? And again, when all these statements or treaties are being made, notice that many times they wouldn't see. You're not seeing the head of the government. You understand? You're not seeing the leader. Right? It's always a black man in that position. When you watch the defense minister, right? You always a black man. When you watch the Homeland Security Minister, it's always a black man. Right? They put them in key strategic positions. You understand? So now, this, in a sense, come like black on black crime. You understand where I come from? Because it's their policies, when they keep passing these policies, it keep coming down to us. And we're not seeing that is because we have a hidden leader running all these policies, understand, under the so-called oppressor. All right?
Now, the defense minister did not state exactly what assets the country needs. Sturge assured the U.S. Secretary of War,
"Our government is dedicated and ready to shoulder our responsibility, and once proportionally equipped to the expectations placed upon us, we will deliver results."
Right? See, right? They're ready, right, to shoulder responsibility. Right? And once they get equipped, they're going to deliver results. So them already pledge allegiance to the so-called oppressor, the so-called white man, so-called deceiver, as the Bible says. You understand? Right? They already sign and pledge their allegiance just by making that statement. And during this whole summit, every country represented here, right? All the countries represented was chosen by Donald Trump, by the American administration. Nobody couldn't get invited to this Shield of the America Summit if you was not invited. You understand? And it's only 2 Caribbean nations get invited, which was Guyana and Trinidad. All the rest, all who refused the radar and all the German who didn't want to put military troops on the island, them is outcasts. Understand? And Donald Trump now make a new security force for the entire Western Hemisphere. Not only the Caribbean, but the entire Western Hemisphere. You understand? So now it come like CARICOM null and void, because you don't really need that again. Because this treaty that formed between these nations, they are going to be the ones providing security underneath the so-called oppressor for the entire Caribbean. Right? And that will significantly change the movement of things going through the entire Caribbean. And the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? This is the thing that happened, right? But because we had to focus on the 9 to 5 and going day to day, you understand, right? And the struggle made harder for the so-called black man. They can't have the time to focus on these things, and a lot of things changing, a lot of policies changing within the Western Hemisphere or within this region, right? And Trinidad and Tobago signed this agreement after the summit, which we will see a little lower down.
Meanwhile, War Secretary Pete Hegseth told those in attendance that the U.S. is not going to tell them how to run their countries, but he added,
"For every country in this hemisphere, border security must be your top priority."
Right? And this is the U.S., he's the Secretary of War, right? And he is saying, he's not telling you how to run your country, right? But every country, the border security is the highest priority. Understand? Right? And the reason why they say border security, because the United States is tightening their border security. So what you're saying is, if we tighten, everybody has to tighten. So everybody has to follow in line with whatever policy that the United States give out. Understand? So you're saying it indirectly, but them already know that they have to follow the policy of America. Understand? In order for all these little islands to survive. Understand? Right? And all those who oppose, eventually you're going to face some type of economic backlash, or just like how they tell all the Caribbean islands to remove all the Cuban doctors. Right? the Cuban doctors didn't do anything. You understand? They came here, they did their job. You understand? They were paid, right? And many of them were able to return to their country and help their families, right? And the United States accused Cuba of human trafficking, right? By having these doctors in all the different Caribbean. I know human trafficking. If some of these Cuban doctors was even getting paid, more paid than and this was documented in Trinidad and Tobago Hansard in Parliament. You understand? Some of these Cuban doctors were paid even higher than some of the local doctors we had here. You understand? But the United States wanted to remove the grip from Cuba within these nations. So they decided to remove the doctors, right, from these hospitals. So now they remove the stripping Cuba of its power, and then they loosen the economic ability, right? Because they used to train doctors and then they would send them out, and the governments would pay a fee to Cuba for having them within the country and also pay their salaries, right? So that arrangement came to an end for all the Caribbean countries. Then it became the issue with the visa and tariffs, right? And once these governments in the Caribbean do not align with America's policy, they're going to face some type of retribution from America, whether it be military or economically or in some other way, right? And that is why this has to read tonight to say we should make no covenant with them, because this, when you form this alliance, it's going to move from giving you supplies, right, to asking to use your airspace, to asking to use your base to put in military troops, and it's going on and on and on until you have no control over your sovereignty in your country. And this spells a lot of darkness for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, because we are the ones in the bottom of this Western society. And the only thing to deliver you out of this is these scriptures. This is the only thing that's going to see through. And understand all the noise that's going on through the media and through social media. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, the scriptures, the ISPP under command in General Hannah, is the tool, right, that you can use to escape this turbulence. Understand that the oppressor are about to bring in the Western Hemisphere or in the Caribbean. All right? Let's see a little more on it.
Border security is national security.
An agreement was signed today. It provides for coordinated maritime and aerial patrols across the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, while also backing the use of U.S. lethal force against cartel vessels under the so-called Trump corollary.
Right? So it's going to also support maritime, right? They're going to be able to use the airspace between all the islands, and also they're going to be able to continue to block all the boats in the Caribbean that are suspect of being narco traffickers without any judicial intervention. Right? They just blow you up and they say you just they didn't see. They're not bringing it to court again. Right?
It further allows for the development of U.S. military advisors to assist local security forces in land-based operations, following a model recently implemented in Ecuador. Now, former National Security Minister and PNM Chairman Marvin Gonzalez says while partnerships between the U.S. and TNT is nothing new, he believes Sturge has now committed this country to something new, which he believes the public deserves to know.
We continue to make the call for the government to be very transparent on these very, very important matters, because they all impact upon the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right? So the other half, right, which is the opposition, the opposite to the government, they are calling, right, on the government to release the information so that people go understand like what we really sign up for. You understand? So it will become clear. Right? If it's for military personnel to be on the ground, or if it's to airspace and things like that, right? The government say they're not releasing it, right? That is military secrets, right? And now we have the former commissioner also saying that the government should not. So it have a back and forth, right? And all these things happening, right? All between, right, heathen leaders, right? And the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man do have a say. You understand? And many people just jump on board, hey, well, I vote for this party or I do this, right? And that's why in the ICP under command in China, that's why we don't vote. You understand? We go explain and bring out what's going on in politics. You understand? But we do vote in this situation for no hidden nation. You understand? Right? Because this is what happened. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man have no say. You understand? Because this is not one of your brethren. He not looking out for you. They're looking out for their people. You understand? And many of our people get tied up in these governments. Right? And look at this. They can't even help their own people. You understand? They're in the government and can't even stretch a hand to help their own people. Right? Because it's just more oppression coming upon the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Right? And we have to wake up and understand, right, what is going on. If somebody could get from me, Babakusha, give me the book of, we Exodus 23, and you can read verse 33, Babakusha. Come. Yeah, come.
They shall not dwell in thy land.
They shall not what?
They shall not dwell in thy land.
And this is in the book of Exodus. And imagine, the Lord had to instruct Moses to tell Israel that he didn't even want me to live in the same land. You understand? That is to tell you how serious this is. Go ahead.
Lest they make thee sin against me.
Lest they do what?
Make thee sin against me.
That's right. Just by living in the same land, they can make we sin against the Lord. And then look at Trinidad. Trinidad so mixed up with all different type of race. What's happening to the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man? We're always doing something contrary to the Lord. Right? Continue.
For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee.
Right? And a snare is a trap. You understand? If we serve their God, that will it will surely be a trap unto thee. And I show the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. That's why it told us in the scripture we read before that we should never follow or do or learn the ways of the heathens. You understand? Because these things become a trap unto the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. This is what makes the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. This is what leads to his downfall. Right? Give me the book of Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 3, Babakusha. Understand? So you Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, understand, right, that all these things that are being set up, right, day to day, right, is not for your success, Black man. Understand? Right? These things result in the downfall of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man in society. Understand? These things is what destroys the Black man due to what the policies that these other nations make. They make those policies in favor of their nation and their people. And the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man finds himself struggling in the bottom of the society. All right? So you can give me the book of Leviticus 18 and verse 3, Babakusha.
Leviticus 18 and verse 3. After the doing of the land of Egypt, where you dwell.
Right? So in the land of Egypt, right? Back in the book of Leviticus telling you here, when we dwelt in the land of Egypt, go ahead.
Shall you not do?
Go ahead.
And after the doing of the land of Canaan.
Right? So back at that time, the land of Canaan and the land of Egypt, the Lord telling us we shall not do the things that we see in these lands. We should not pick up the culture and the practices of these surrounding lands. Go ahead.
Whether I bring you, shall you not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances.
That's right. You understand? We're not supposed to pick up their culture and their practices that we see in these other nations. And this was way back in the land of Egypt and Canaan. Right? And the Bible says, right, that America today, Babylon the Great, carrying that same spirit. You understand? That same spirit that came down from the oppressor. America today has that same spirit. And now we living in that land today. And we have to do what? Not do the things we see in that land. We have to not pick up those that culture and those practices that we see in the land. You understand? Right? Those things are against the Most High power. And this is what makes the black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man go against the Most High. Right? Because when we pick up their culture and their practices, this is what cause our transgression against the Most High. Right? So after we supported the Americans, right, and we pledged to take their doctrine and ask for military support, right? Because we support the oppressor, this is what happened immediately, right?
4 hours after Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar met with U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal says Chevron is already knocking on Trinidad and Tobago's door.
Right? So 24 hours after, not even a whole day pass, all the American companies coming back, right? Want to come back to Trinidad immediately because what? We agree to do what the oppressor want us to do. Understand? And that is to show you, just like we just talked about, that is to show you the oppressor is the one in power. No. Understand? And the Most High to come and destroy that. The Most High to come and break that. Understand? One talk, one meeting, and in 24 hours, Chevron, right? American oil giants ready to come back to Trinidad. Understand? And this is how they're coming, and they're coming now to suck all the oil, to suck the dregs now from Trinidad. Understand? They're coming to control all cross-border deals between Trinidad and any other country, just like as they're doing in Venezuela today. Understand? And this is what? More pain for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Understand? Because now the oppressor gets full leeway to enter into the islands once more, as it already was. Right?
24 hours after Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar met with U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal says Chevron is already knocking on Trinidad and Tobago's door. CNC3 News caught up with the minister at Pagua celebrations in Palm East Park, where he says it signals that things are going well for the local energy sector. He says the global oil giant could meet with government as early as next week. Dr. Munilal says it's no coincidence Chevron's interest came just hours after the Prime Minister's high-level talks in Miami.
This morning I received
Right, so this is the energy minister, right? Celebrating Pagua. A hidden holiday, right? What are the energy minister? Understand? What are you looking? Full rainbow down. Understand? In a hidden festival. Right? Supporting what? Their custom. Understand? And these is the people ruling over us today. Understand? And this is why the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man need to wake up. All right?
Message from Chevron, which is the second largest oil and gas company in the world. I believe to ExxonMobil, but Chevron is a truly global player. And this morning I received news from Chevron that they are asking us to meet with their business development unit to further discussions on cooperation in the energy sector, not just exploration and production, but some matters pertaining to storage and so on.
Less than 24 hours.
So immediately, they made this treaty and alliance with the oppressor, and immediately, now the oppressor sending back his oil giants back into the country. Understand? Give me James 4 and verse 4, Bible. Right? And this is what they don't understand. Understand? And this is why the Lord gave the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right, that authority. Understand? That we could be the priests and kings on the face of the earth under our King Yahushua. Understand? When anybody have it, take a bit there. Come.
James chapter 1 verse 4. Yeah, the we not friendship, the world, enmity, the Most High.
That's right. Understand? And they talk about adulterers and adulteresses. Understand? We all about. Understand? With everybody, every country, every nation. This is how the heathens operate. Understand? Right? They want to be friends of everybody of the world. And that is what? Enmity with the Most High. And this is for Israel to understand. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Many of us want to be friends with all the nations. Understand? All the Chinese and the East Indians and the Assyrians and the so-called white man or the oppressor. Understand? Right? And in that process, we turn enemies. There's enemies against God. Understand? We have to wake up and understand and see what's happening in this society. They setting up, understand, to do what? Bring back the same system, right? That was here in 1845. Understand? In 1845, when the East Indians came on the Fatal Razak, right, and started to operate and live in Trinidad, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man was working for 25 cents a day. Understand? We had the lowest wage out there, everybody. The lowest. Understand? Until we had to pool together to buy land. First thing back. Understand? Because we couldn't afford to buy land on our own as an individual. And the same thing happening again. You understand? When you watch the bottom, right, of the bottom of society, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, we barely struggling. You understand? We're waiting for some next project to build just for we to make our bread. You understand? Everything in the economy slow down. And they just deliberately slow down the economy. You understand? And when they slow down the economy, the people who to feel the effects first is those in the bottom. You understand? When all these businesses start to close and start to retrench people, and then they're going to rehire you. But when they rehire you, they're going to rehire at a menial wage. And that's how they keep the oppression going. You understand? So you have more work to do for the same pay you used to work for. You understand? When you look at them, and you see them unions protested, we just be telling you. They just be telling you we're working on 2011 salaries. There's a reason why they're telling you that. You understand? Because they say the economy of the country moving up. When you watch the statistics, the economy of the country moving up. But the wages of the people not going anywhere. The same way they was working for back then, they're still working for that today. You understand? And that is what they continue to do. For the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Understand? And when they're ready and they find the wages becoming too high, they break the company, form a new one, and then rehire you. Understand? And now you're working for the same salary that you're working for years ago. And that is what the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man face daily. Understand? Right? So because they make this agreement with the United States, right? All the oil companies now get clearance, right, to return to Trinidad and Tobago to scrape all the last bit of oil and gas we probably have in the ground. You understand? And to take control of any cross-border deals we attempt to make. You understand? They would be in total control of it. You understand? So Trinidad will literally be at the mercy, economically and security-wise, when coming to the Western Hemisphere, to the so-called oppressor. You understand? We would be at the mercy of the oppressor, or the people in governance, I should say. All right? Give me Obadiah chapter 8. Sorry, Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 8, Baba Kasha. Right? And this here describes the so-called oppressor perfectly. Understand? All right? And this is why the so-called white man, so-called Caucasian man, or the deceiver, right? The devil the Bible speaks of. Right? This is why the Mosai has that punishment on him. Right? Because the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, he continues to bring oppression on him. Right? Every time the black man tries to come up or do something on his own, he comes to do it, to take control, right? And to insert his military dominance upon all these nations, right? Give me Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 8.
Obadiah 1 verse 8. Shall I not in that day say the Most High, he will destroy the white men out of Edom?
That's right. And the Lord say in that day, right, he's going to destroy the wise men out of Edom. Go ahead.
And understanding out of the mouth of Esau.
That's right. And that is promised to Esau and his descendants, right? All the so-called Caucasian man, right? That descendant, the Lord is going to destroy them. Continue, Babakusha.
Verse 9, and thy mighty men, 40 man, shall be dismayed. The end, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
That's right, and this is what the Lord has for this empire. Understand? The so-called oppressor, the Lord is going to cut off and destroy them by slaughter. Go ahead.
Instead, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
Right, for the violence against the brother Jacob. Right, Jacob, whose name was turned to Israel, and Israel grew into a great nation. Right, 12 tribes. Right, and for the violence against us. Right, or when the other nations came against Israel. Right, they're going to go down and they're going to explain, but the so-called oppressor or Esau, at that time, that nation never helped, even though he was the brother. He never helped, right? Continue, Babakusha.
Shame shall cover thee.
Shame shall do what?
Shame shall cover thee. And thou shalt be cut off forever.
And thou shalt be do what?
Cut off forever.
Go ahead.
Verse 11, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side.
What Esau do? Read back from the top of 11.
Verse 11, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side.
Right, so Esau, he stood on the other side, right? Go ahead.
In the day that the stranger is carried away, captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem.
That's what they do to Jerusalem. And Esau stood and watched. He didn't do anything. Go ahead.
Even thou wast as one of them.
Just like he once was led into captivity at one time. Go ahead.
Verse 12, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger.
That's right. Understand? But the Lord saying he should have never do that. He should have never looked on the day of his brother, that the day he became a stranger. So the day Israel was in their calamity, right? He never do nothing to assist. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou rejoice over the children of Judah.
What are you doing?
Rejoice over the children of Judah.
That's right. Our so-called oppressor today rejoice, right? When the tribe of Judah, right, was in the hand of his enemies. Go ahead.
In the day of their destruction.
In the day of what?
Their destruction.
That's right. So when we're going through we hardship, understand, for going against the Lord, this is what he Esau do. He stood and he rejoiced over the children of Judah. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
That's right. And when we was in our day of distress, he was speaking proudly. Go ahead.
Verse 13, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people.
And then after he entered into the gate of the Lord's people. Go ahead.
In the day of their calamity.
In the day of our calamity. Go ahead.
Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction. In the day of their calamity. Nor have laid hands on their substance.
That's right. That's right. And that's what the so-called oppressor do. Understand? He just wait until you're in trouble and then come to do what? To even bring more trouble on you. And it even go on to say, right, that he laid hands on their substance. He take whatever resources they have, he took it. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 13.
Verse 14. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway.
Right? And he stood in the crossway. Go ahead.
Cut off those of his that did escape.
That's right. And those who was trying to escape from this affliction that was about to face, Esau stood in the crossway and blocked them. Go ahead.
Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
That's right. And those where he could capture, he delivered them up. He carried them up, right, to remain in the day of distress. Understand? Right? Esau did that. Right? The nation of Esau did that to their brother. Understand? Go ahead.
15. For the day of the Most High is near upon all the heathen.
Is near upon what?
All the heathen.
And that is why you black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, that is why we, understand, have to serve the Lord. Understand? Because if we go up between the heathen, the Lord is saying, right, the day of the Lord, that judgment of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. You will get destroyed with them. You will be massacred with them. Because he's telling you, the day coming when all these heathen go to face their calamity. Go ahead.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee.
Just as them do, it's going to be done, right, unto them. You understand? That's going to be returned unto them. Go ahead.
Thy reward shall return on thy own head.
That's right. You understand? And this is a prophecy from in the book of Obadiah. You understand? This is the so-called oppressor. All the things we see that he's doing today, all the things, how the flexing the muscle and the military might and the moving this big ship back and forth to the eastern and western hemisphere, bombing places and forcing countries to break under the military pressure. The Lord is going to return that upon their own head. Understand? Right? And the Lord promised them that because in the day, at that time, understand, when, right, he could have when he could have support Israel, he never did. Understand? And he even did what? He stand in the crossway to block them, to make sure that the nation of Israel get destroyed. Right? And this is why black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, right? This is why the Lord hate them. And that's why he say he hate Esau. You understand? And he loved Jacob. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, these oppressors, right? And it's the so-called white man today, right? This is not by guess. You understand? This is a history of our people continually or who have a perpetual hatred against black people. You understand? But these heathens run up under them. You understand? In order to get power over the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. You understand? And this is what our people have to understand. And that is why when we join hand in hand, just like we want the government, many of our brothers and sisters, right, in this so-called heathen government, holding different positions, but none of them, right, in a place where they can help the people, where they can deliver the people from calamity. Understand? Because all the main head decisions making by these heathens and bringing more oppression and strain upon the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? And we will just go through this video, right? And then
to any kind of investment.
So this is a clip, right? They came back a second time and showing that a conference showing the revitalization project that's going to take place in Trinidad, right? And it's showing all the infrastructure that they're going to build and different things like that. And they were showing they already have support to construct some of these structures, right? People already bidding, or I shouldn't say bidding, but showing interest in these projects, right? And they're showing you how many people showing interest in the different projects, right? And in this revitalization project is a critical area. Understand that the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man have to be very careful about, because many of our people have been trapped in this area in society for years. All right. So as we're running through, we go.
Any kind of progress, people killing people, like if we crazy, wouldn't work. Good people might come in and they will make their money, a few, not many, and they're gone. They're not going to stay here, right? But
so she basically saying this is the Minister of Works, and she's saying that people killing people, right? And foreign investors going to come in, make the money, and just leave, right? And she was showing off the different projects that are about to start, right? In Trinidad and Tobago, right? To change the structure how Trinidad and Tobago is currently set up, right?
And people people, we want to be competitive. That the real C-suite executive that who are now going to Dubai, because why? It is safe. They are.
So she said people going to Dubai because this was maybe about 3 weeks before today, right? So she said people going to Dubai because Dubai is safe. And then when you look now, 3 weeks after, people running from Dubai because Dubai is not safe, right? Because now bombs dropping in Dubai, understand? So now it's showing you, right? They're talking one thing, but the Lord showing them something different. No way in the world is safe. You understand? That is an illusion that the white man presented, right? To all the nations, right? Right? And this year, right, I don't know if we would be able to see it close up on the screen, right? But I will give up. I'm going to try to blow it up a little more. I'm going to try to make it full screen here, right? So this year is a layout, right? This will be the Security Administration Complex. So they want to make a complex where the entire Trinidad security forces, all security forces, will be in this one area, this one hub, right? And they will be able to operate and govern all security matters of Trinidad and Tobago in this area, right? So they're looking to consolidate all security forces in Trinidad and Tobago, right? So they're looking to kind of make like a Pentagon in Trinidad, a local Pentagon in Trinidad, right? And they now want to set up this year, and they said they already have 48 companies already show interest in building this. You understand? Because they stand to benefit from it. All the companies already in the process, right, of giving the government submissions of their interests for these companies, right?
They are going to Abu Dhabi. They are going to Singapore. They say it's safe. And I could bring my wife and my children. When they come, you don't want them to just come for overnight. You want them to come and to stay because you want that talent, that expertise, their Rolodex, their networking to come with them. So this is
right. So and if you watch just on straight before, the Minister Homeland Security, right, is a Jake, right, or a black man. The Minister of Defense is a Jake, black man. The Minister of Works is a black woman, right? Slakia? No. Right? The Minister of Works, right? And if you're watching, all our people are in the key positions or the hot spots in the government. You understand? So if anything go wrong, that the finger are pointed to them. You understand? But they didn't realize that. And all the safe spots, right, is where all the hidden ministers are. You understand? But to make real change and policy, the things that they have to do, our people are in the firing line when it comes to that. So as I hear something go wrong, you're going to blame, you're not blaming the leader of the government. As they have some go wrong in crime, Alexander, he don't, he's stupid, he this, he that. They're ready to blame the so-called Black Panthers. That face representing black people. That is how dangerous these political games has be, right?
National Security Administration, and this is really ensuring that our commissioner and the Trinidad and Tobago police service is brought into the 22nd century, in 23rd century, way ahead, because we're dealing with AI and all of that in terms of
48 submissions.
We got 48 submissions. All right. So these are 40-acre single unified functional national security. We call it a campus, right? So this again might have been like a civic. Have to get into these places and executive that who are now going to Dubai because why? It is safe. They are going to Abu Dhabi. They are going to Singapore. They say it's safe.
Right.
We could pump that into school. So after the revitalization, big infrastructure is the Rolodex.
So we're going to skip through a little bit, right? So the building the security complex, right? So we skip it.
Right. So this again might have been like a civic kind of project, but it has been taken up. 48 submissions. This is the same thing.
Government Campus Plaza, Central.
This is in Central. God, we are talking about, again, decentralizing government. That everything is not stuck in borders. When we complain about the traffic, it's not only...
Right, so one project, the consolidating all the security agencies in one spot. Right, this is the changes that are going to take place. And then in this other project here, right, they're looking to decentralize the government. meaning they're going to move these government office from Port of Spain and put it in a different area. And the area they choose for this decentralization is Shogunas, right? And in Shogunas, we know Shogunas, we know what nation predominantly in Shogunas. And with this decentralization, right, the building to the front, right, to the forefront, right? I don't know if you could see on the screen, but that is the Ministry of Agriculture. That's already there already, right? That way to be seen on the highway when you pass it. And the next 4 buildings, right, further to the back, where you see the yellow tags on them, is what they propose to build, right, in this area. So Central is going to have the Ministry of Agriculture, which is food. They're going to have the energy sector tower, which is energy. They're going to have control of housing development, and they're going to have control of the central ministries of government, right? And with the next place is that commercial space, right, for people buying and selling stuff, right? So like a mall. But the 4 main areas of government going to now be decentralized to central. Understand? So these are just some of the changes that they're making in this revitalization project. So the project bright, it's blooming, everybody excited, but they're not understanding the changes that's going. So they're removing this power from the capital and bringing it down to central, right? So we're going on again.
About having taxis when you want it, or in terms of your mass people mover, your Walmart bus, why you don't invest in light rail. Some of it is decentralized and it's common sense, it makes sense. And we have lands all around where you have these this plaza, Price Plaza area there, right? So we are saying you relocate some of these ministries into these areas so everybody's not coming into Port of Spain. High density.
So they're breaking that stronghold from Port of Spain, so everybody we head in central, right?
Car park. This is in San Fernando, next to the proposed hospital. We got 44 submission. Cultural real estate. Them boys jail. Again, this was one that surprised me.
So this is the jail in currently in Port of Spain with the started to close down, right? They're going to turn that into a cultural facility, right? Right, and when they turn this into a cultural facility now, they're moving away the prison, right? So you're not going to no longer have any prison anywhere in Port of Spain. So immediately when they move away that, all the buildings within that area, the value immediately skyrockets because they prime land now, because they have no prison, right?
We are talking about when we consolidate the prisons into Tamana, we have a historic.
And that is what they're saying, they're going to put the new prison in Tamana, right? We will come to that later down at the end of the video.
Building in Port of Spain, that is them boys jail. However, you can't build around it right now. You can't build above 2 stories because it's a jail, right? I think there is a basement and all of that. So one is saying, repurpose it. You keep the facade, which is historic, and you have a place for exhibition and event hall, classroom and studies for teaching and workshops. This is about culture. This is a space for culture. All them mass and thing, costume, calypso, your Kitchener wing, your Sparrow wing, and that kind of thing. Maybe a Marshall wing, who knows, right? So this is what you do with this. Is this 2 acres of land?
So
prime and it's
right.
They're making the public aware that some of the so-called black prominent cultural artists going to be displayed in this area, right? So trying to win over the public, right?
And it's really adjacent to Napa, the museum, our iconic Queen's Park, Savannah. So this is a prime piece of real estate.
This is one intended forex generators.
For sure. In addition, when people come to your country, we're coming to do. So
they're saying when people come to the country, she asking the question, we're coming to do, right? So immediately, this is not for you. You understand? This is for when people come to the country because they're looking to generate forex or foreign dollars, right?
You have to have places. You have to create spaces for people to visit. I can't come again. This is
right. So that was the jail in Port of Spain, right? This here now is the jail in Carrera Island, right?
This is the current Carrera prison that one is looking to repurpose. It sits under cultural real estate. So all that is part of the.
So this is what the proposed bill on Carrera Island, right? This project is the Syrians already fighting for it already, right? Because it's on the island. So this is going to be a hotel on that island, right? So go on that island. After we done can go down the island, we could barely make it on some of them islands. And they're going to build a hotel here. But this hotel is not going to be like the Hyatt in Port of Spain where everybody could just walk in. This is going to be on Carrera Island, right? So they're going to demolish the prison and they're going to build this for special guests. You understand? Right? And you know all them islands just go when it comes to islands and hotel. This might be Trinidad Epstein. You understand? Right? So you know these things just go.
40, how much 43 responses we got. Healthcare facilities, 45 submissions. Right?
And the submissions he's talking about is interest that companies already showing. So the last two we watched had 48 people already fighting for the contract. This one here have 45 people already fighting for the contract. Some of the companies is international companies that when they went to Dubai recently. Some of the people from Dubai showing interest to build, I think it's the port in Port of Spain and the one in San Fernando. And so we not even being a part of that. You understand? That foreign companies, if they win the bid, will they be taking control of all these projects, right? In Trinidad.
Talking about over.
Yeah, she's the minister of works. That is Julie John. Yeah.
The reason why I ask this is because the face of everything now passed by.
That's right.
Especially black people in the city. Always be the face of black people.
That's right.
And again, general breakdown that story with the ballot. Speaker. We will always be the important.
That's right.
Right? Because not to set up something like this and to construct something like this, but to have somebody speak on something like this, there must be aware of everything.
That's right.
And this is why, again, nothing wrong with the school again. So the understanding where the focus are you really assist people is the focus are actually doing that.
That's right.
Yeah, it must be true.
That's right.
Outside of that, what she doing there now is actually, setting the mind that black people in Trinidad and the to a place where whether not the government will do something, to aid or country.
That's right.
This will actually put you into a more deeper state. And he must see to our
Command General, yeah, Musa in Christ. Musa in Christ. And we bring all this so true. And understand, it's just like we just stated, it's telling you the dream. And understand, the pain, the picture, and now they're bringing it to the public to get you in that state. And understand, because you wishing for this, and half of these things here is not for you. You understand? Yeah. The capital, the castle list. It's like, yeah. You understand? So they're making sure and put the black man in these key places. You understand? There's the one, right? In these positions, when they watch Wayne Sturge and Alexander, they want to take the blame. They want to take all the beating and the whipping for one crime high. You understand? When they're making these sharp military alliances, they had to take the blame. They didn't want to see nobody from the East Indian side doing that. You understand where I'm from? Them is the one whose name going to be etched in history. Every time you go back and you watch past ministers of national security or defense, you're going to see black men do them nonsense. You understand where I'm from? And they're going to try to be the one, just like that is spirit of the white man, they want going to try to be the one in the light. You understand? And that's what Donald Trump does do. He's waging all them war and still want to win Nobel Peace Prize. That's so ironic. You fighting wars and want to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And they start out. You understand? That is tell you how ridiculous it's becoming. You understand? Right? And they keep setting up all these infrastructure, right? Let me see what is the time here, right? Right, we're coming up on the time, right?
1,000 additional bed spaces, both in San Fernando and Port of Spain, because again, we are looking at a world-class medical teaching campus, because you want to get to the point that with your healthcare, right now people still waiting 2 days for a bed and what have you. So you get past that, and you have enough redundancy in the system, because we have excellent.
Right. So this is a visual of people who know Trinidad and understand Trinidad geographics, right? The blue, basically the blue areas there, the blue roofs, right? That is the current San Fernando General Hospital, right? And the two buildings behind with the plus sign on it, so you have the hospital sign on it. That is the two buildings that proposed the bill. Also the entire port area that you see in there, right? I think it was one of the companies from Dubai also proposed that they want to be part of that project, right? So all these projects that are planning to build, and they now want to do the job that Cuba is doing, right? By building an international hospital agency, and they're going to train medical staff to export them or put them out to other countries. You understand? So when the United States removed Cuba power with doctors and nurses, Trinidad now was going to take that place. But when they build this, you understand? And this is what they're racing for. And when we look at Trinidad medical field and then watch the ratio of East Indian people to Negro people in the medical field, when it comes to doctors, we know that it have more East Indian people. So obvious, they would be the ones to get these jobs to go out on these other islands as the preferred medical people in the Caribbean to work in different hospitals, right? And here is going to be the place that training all medical doctors. So they already put the infrastructure in place for all these things that happen. These things happening, right? And a lot of people not aware. So a lot of things are going to change. And when that change, it's going to become very difficult for Black people in this country, right? If you're not paying attention, and if you're not paying attention to the ISUPK under command in Jarian, right? A lot of things will change very quickly. And the general has always teach
doctors, excellent nurses. We have doctors that home sleeping right now because they have no jobs. It means that over 200 people in there. You don't put up your hand and say, I want to be murdered.
Right, so and this was a statistics, right, that they showed over the past 10 years, and the yellow one, right, mostly the put in yellow because of course any party colors, but the yellow one, right, that says what was a 42% reduction in crime. Now, mind you, this was actually approximately 3 weeks ago, right? So 3 to 4 weeks ago, it was 42% decline, right? And 3 weeks later, the other call a state of emergency because you see the crime too high. That to show you the games that we play. You understand where I'm from? Because it was just telling me it was 42% reduction, right? And 3 weeks later, the other call a state of emergency because now it's death threat and the crime high. You understand? That is to show you the games that we play with the population. You understand? In order to keep control of the general public. All right? I just keep it to here for time's sake. All right? I want to reach down to the point I want to reach down to.
Further, if it is all that we are talking, we have to join together to deal with this crime. Right? So Zozo is not a political thing. Zozo is actually, what's the name? Zizo.
And this was around the time they was fighting to pass the zone of special operation bill in the parliament. Well, we know that didn't pass, right? So they were trying to show that the 42% reduction would have been even lower if they didn't get through with the Zozo bill. And because they didn't get through, they say the crime went back high again. So they call our next state of emergency. And that is how we in the state of emergency will be in now, right? So then now, I want to show this last piece here before we close off, right? To get to this place here. So we show the prison in Port of Spain, Trinidad Art and Cultural Center. The prison in Carrera out on the island. That's going to turn a hotel, right? And they're going to construct a new prison to replace the prison in Aruca. Right?
Let's move on. So this is the complex in Tamana.
Right. This is a proposed prison that they're going to build, right? They say estimated to cost about $3 to $6 billion, right? Now, this prison, I don't know if you know, you can see it on the screen clearly, right? But this prison, right, going to hold all the judges, magistrates, they're going to have agriculture facilities, they're going to have the YTC, the Youth Training Center, everything going inside their general population, right? And they're going to have different training facilities, maximum security prison, and all the administrative side are the prison service going to run from this place. This is going to be in Tamina. The big forest area up in Tamina, that's what it's going to be. Right? So the prison will no longer be anywhere near where family thing. This is going on in deep in the forest. Right? And they're putting all these facilities there so that nobody, if anybody enter this prison for any crime, you're not leaving until your time up. Yeah, you ain't coming out on a court to get no jersey from your mother, nothing. You understand? Once you go inside here, you can't come because that all the facilities there for you to go to court and everything, right? They see all the judge, magistrate, your case, try and everything, right? And when they get sentenced, they send you across the courtyard and you start to serve your sentence in the prison. No coming, right? Even people on remand, right? Going in this prison, there was section for you here. So you turn on remand in Port of Spain, and people calling you over the wall and sending drone and them kind of thing. All that done, right? And so they want to build this facility in Tamina. They already have 44 companies fighting to get the contract. 44 submissions for this project, right? But the thing about this is, what I wanted to bring up is that the current prison system in Trinidad and Tobago have 3,300 people. The majority is black people, right? Based on the statistics that they give out, right? This prison going to hold double that, going to hold 6,000 people, right? Now, and this is the thing that under the ISB, under Command General, that we always tell black people, this is the trap that they're going to set. They already cater, you understand? That, because remember, for a prison to run effectively, they had to fill it. That is how you're going to get funding to keep this making profit, you understand? And to keep the system going. They already calculate in their mind that if we get 3,000 more people to enter into this facility, we're going to be able to hold 6,000 people, and this prison, they say it's going to save $60 million. Right? And that's what we don't understand. And if we leading as the statistics say in the prison system, it means that our children or future children, if we don't guide them in the right way, just as the general captains, officers, everybody bringing up, they're going to enter here and they can't come out. You're not going to see, just like we read in the book of Deuteronomy, understand? Right? With the sky is iron and the floor is brass, paraphrasing. It's going to actually be real now. You understand? It's not going to be here now. It's not going to be in Raymond Yard and here in car passing outside because the prison in the city. This is going to be a reality. You understand? If we ain't careful. You understand? And this is what this government plans to set up. They're willing to spend $3 to $6 billion to build this prison. Imagine if they did put that money in a training and rehabilitation program. The prison now, right now might have nobody. You understand? But they can't make money. A prison is a money-making system because they have a contract to cook food, contract for maintenance, contract for people to put the yard. You have to pay the judges, you have to pay the prison officers. Right? All these things, maintenance workers, all these things going on. Who's supplying them with food, with the ration for them to cook for the prisoners and the officers and the staff? Everybody getting a contract. So when a prison build, a lot of people living off of the prison indirectly because they're getting contracts to keep the system running. This is an operating system. Understand? But if you take that money and put it in a rehabilitation program and it has no prisoners, nobody not making no money. Justice on time, not making no money. Understand? And justice on time, the supply transport to the prison service. Now, when you do have to move the prisoners, somebody getting cut out and somebody getting put in. Understand? And you could see that the hidden fighting their own battle between them. Because they're cutting out somebody to put in somebody. You understand? So when you see those things happening, that's the war that's fighting in these facilities. That's why sometimes you go see the business, the downtown merchants association don't come out and quarrel with the government because they know what's happening behind the scenes. That them having their own economic war between them. You understand? I would advise somebody take a drive, go and visit David, see what David looking like. David almost better than Sando in a few short years. You understand? Penal in backward coming quickly. You understand? From a lot of the food stuff way cheaper. You understand? I don't want to do no advertising, but I'm telling you. You understand? People don't understand what they're doing to black people daily. You understand? Right? Just by these things. And this here is a setup for the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And if we're not careful, we will fall victim to the things that they set up in society. All right? So with that, we will just close up with Deuteronomy 7 and 6, and we will end the class. All right? So you black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, this is what the ISUP under commanding General Hannah is for us to escape these snares and the traps, just as we read before, that the heathen set up and stand against us. Understand? We had to do what? Turn away from the ways of the oppressor. Understand? And come back to the Lord's laws, His statutes, and commandments, and learn about the ways that we should live upon the face of the earth, so that these traps and snails, we wouldn't fall prey to them. Right? So whoever have it can read Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 to 6. But thou art holy people.
Right? The Lord made the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to be a holy people. Holy means Qadash in Hebrew means separate. We were supposed to be a separate people. We were not supposed to be blended in with all these other nations and forming no color loop or no pale hours with they try to push in Trinidad. We're supposed to be a separate people. Right? Go ahead.
Unto the Lord, thy God.
That's right. And we're supposed to be a separate people unto the Lord. We're not supposed to just be separate by ourselves. We're supposed to be a separate people unto the Lord. We are the Lord's portion. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
That's right. The Lord chose us to be a special people unto himself. Right? Go ahead.
Above all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's right. And we're supposed to be above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Go down to verse 7, Baba Kusha.
Verse 7. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people.
That's right. Not because we were more in number than any other people. India, 1.3 billion people. China, 1.3 billion people. And yet the Lord didn't choose them. He chose the nation of Israel. It wasn't about the number. Go ahead.
For you were the fewest of all people.
At that time, we were what?
For you were the fewest of all people.
Because at that time, we were the fewest of all people. So it wasn't about the numbers. Go ahead.
Verse 8. But because the Lord loved you.
Because what?
Because the Lord loved you.
Because I love the Lord. Because what?
Because the Lord loved you.
Because the Lord is who loved us first. He chose us. Go ahead.
And because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your father.
That's right. He make an oath. He swear unto the fathers. And even unto today, the Lord still keeping that oath. We are still, the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is still the Lord's people. Go ahead.
And the Lord brought you out with his mighty hand and give you out of the house of bondmen.
That's right. We were the house of bondmen, many captivities, especially the captivity in Egypt. We were bondmen in Egypt, and the Lord delivered us. Go ahead.
From the hand of Pharaoh.
From who?
From the hand of Pharaoh.
That's right.
Of Egypt.
That's right. And that is why we can't be no Egyptologists and following no Kemet. You understand? Because the Lord delivered black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man out of the hands of Pharaoh. You understand? The king of Egypt. You understand? Right? So we were not no Egyptians, we were not no Africans. The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man that you're seeing today, you understand? We are the true Jews according to the Bible. And with that, I will pass the class over to priest and Professor Tasso.
Security announcements with ISBK out of 1 West. you on the commanding general. You, brothers and sisters, new brother or sister comes into the school, you're off limits for 6 months. That be saluted only. They have to shut themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will call each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, the commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18 and verse 21 at Malachi. Chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew and it's pronounced Ma'ashira. 10% of every penny increase the Lord gives you, give to the church department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. A common holy convocation, right, which is the Lord's Passover, the 700 Passover, right, starting off kicking off, right, from Wednesday, April 1st, right, which is Lamb Slaughter and Beach Ranch in Houston, Texas, so all that could make it across there, right, that's going to be SARS and whatever the case is. And for those that can't make it, all right, today, and they will be, right, probably closer to Trinidad and Tobago, even if you cannot make it, right, wait for it, in person, you want to make it in person as much as possible, come down, right, like with your brothers and sisters, get to understand your culture and take it back, you know what I mean? So we can escape some of them things that I'm here to talk about this morning, right? You have the kids party on Thursday as well, the second day of kickoff, right, April 2nd. On Friday, and the all black party, understand what people, the black people do this style, right? And then, of course, Saturday the 4th is the Lord's Passover. You can find this, right? The history of when the Lord delivered from the hand of the enemies, understand them, African enemy, right? You can find this in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 1 to 5, to 51, select, right? And Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 5 to 4 to 5, and 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verses 7 to 8. And 2 Chronicles chapter 30 and verse 17. Right? Remind Akim, which means brothers, and Aquakim, which means sisters, to check on ISPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, needs to stay wearing all black, which includes black boots, like shirts, like pants, like band or stuff. That's the matching machine for them. Yeah, boss class. So come on. What you need? Right. That's right. So I was trying to, right? So as the officer say, nice officer, so I pulled up at the school, right? And number 10 is 4798286. You want to reach out to him and say that what he was now talking about the classes that we have. Scripture breakdown on Mondays and on Thursdays, right? All the time. Going through, but especially Pastor will have a boss class to read this, going a little more deep too, but you want to start plug in. That's what I understand, brothers, just like yourself, just like yourself. But we come out of all kind of different ways, high, low, in between, wherever. As I come back to the most and take back the culture. Alright? And with that, we say, upon your put which means to rise up his teeth, south means to turn. But the city Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanaw. Shabbat Shemai. Kodash. Yeah. Shabbat. How. Zaka. Yeah. Shah. Arabis. Hawa. Yeah. Shemai. Turn. Nawa. Ka. Wab. Salakna. Salakna. What shine up. Yeah.
What we said in English was, "Oh Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. How? Thy kingdom come, and will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it."
So, Mr. Turn, and officially, going to give you teacher, I want to salute, but not officially, match up, all right?
How about you, check from?
Start with the turn, going to give salute, not officially, match up, Alright. Yeah, what's the man?